good, you guys? I hope you're doing so lovely today. If you're new here, hi, welcome. My name is Morgan and this is The Void. So what I'm gonna do for you guys today is show you one of my favorite ways to pass the time. All I do is just read the Google News headlines that show up in my recommended on Google, because they are wild. I don't even read the stories. The headlines though, it's literally like they put a story into the AI generator and they were like, make this as clickbaity as possible, and it just blew it out of proportion, and it's so funny. I'll just give you a few examples, okay? We're just gonna do that. I have not read through them yet. Let's just start. First one on the list. It's not crazy, but it's just like, it's questionable. A massive locomotive will pass through Colorado. That's it, that's the title. What do I do with that? It's the fact that it says massive. If it didn't say a massive locomotive, that wouldn't be headline worthy at all. But you see the word massive and you're like, how massive? Are we talking like it's gonna wipe out Colorado? That's news, but I'm not gonna click on that. This one's really good. Colorado's going through it apparently. An ancient portal to the underworld was found in Denver. Now that's one that I'm gonna click on, because what do you mean? What happened to make you write about this? Okay, looters stole this 2,700-year-old Hell Gate. Now it's back where it belongs. That's even crazier. Y'all got like 10 seconds to explain what the hell's going on in this article. Originally stolen sometime in the early 20th century, a portal to the underworld depicting the Olmec jaguar god, returned to its Mexican home in May of 2023. Oh, hey, Jericho. Yes, he does. Pretty boy. Could you at least face the camera? Bro. What are you doing, huh? Pretty boy. Let's get back to the underworld, okay? The looters broke the object into smaller pieces. Mexican authorities, with the government's National Institute of Anthropology and History, have spent a year restoring the statue to its former glory. Sometime in the early 20th century, officials aren't sure exactly when. Eventually, the ancient Hell Gate wound up in Denver in 2023, and finally authorities from the Antiquities Trafficking Unit... That's not real. The Antiquities Trafficking Unit, based in New York City, secured the masterpiece. Within a couple months, the long-missing statue made a return trip to Mexico. Some elements that make it up are original, but others, such as metal structure based on bolts, cement reinforcements, and replacements of missing parts and shapes, were added to give it stability again, even though the techniques and materials were not the most appropriate. In the headline, they made it seem absolutely crazy. Like, I was picturing a literal portal that someone, like, found in their basement that, like, no one had been down in forever, and they're just like, oh man, call authorities. Denver gang, we doing it. We making history tonight, baby. No. I don't know what the hell they just explained, honestly. What is the significance of it? Like, why? I get that it's significant, but you've already messed it up. It's already ruined. You just tried to put back together a portal to hell with screws and craft supplies, and then shipped it back to Mexico? Did anything change? Like, was it just called that? What is the significance of this thing? What is the power behind it? Nothing was explained. Whatever. I'm over that. Moving on to the next one that I really like a lot. Lost donkey seen living with elk herd 5 years later, living his best life. That's good to hear. I don't even need to open that. I don't even need to read the story. Perfect. That's all I needed to know. Next one. Get ready to see a sky explosion that only happens once every 80 years. What are you talking about, dude? I love the ones from NASA and anything that has to do with space, because it'll always say something wild. A sky explosion. Get ready to see a sky explosion that only happens once every 80 years. Why do we care? What do you mean a sky explosion? Why does it only happen every 80 years?
That makes no fucking sense!
What is that? Why do we know the schedule of this sky explosion? What? This one's terrifying and I hate it so much. 28 people trapped upside down on amusement park ride atmosphere. Someone said, I was just crying. I was more happy I was alive, a writer said after being taken off the ride and safely returned to the ground. Yeah, that's a valid response. More than 24 people are recovering after a theme park ride in Oregon left them hanging upside down for more than 20 minutes, dude. Dog. Being stuck upside down, the entire experience was uncomfortable. My entire waist below was asleep. A fellow rider told me, he was like, you have to hold your legs back. It was so hard. It was so bad. So there's this like woman firefighter and she's like tiny and she's like, oh, I got you. Harding continued describing her rescuer. I'm like, are you sure? And she literally like picked me up and I was just so overwhelmed and everything. I gave her like the biggest hug. That's the realest, most raw interview I've ever heard, actually written down. They didn't like try to sugarcoat it or make it sound better. I'm glad that they just kept everything in there. 9-year-old Emma Kawakami hit 3 900s in a row at Tony Hawk event in front of Tony Hawk. She's 9 years old. She's only been skating for 5 years. I mean, she probably learned to walk the same time she learned how to skate. That's crazy. 3 900s after 5 years of skating. Yo. Okay, if you ever want to just read something absolutely wild, just search space and then go to news. Rocket Company. First of all, wild to just say Rocket Company. There's no name. Okay. Rocket Company develops massive catapult to launch satellites into space without using jet fuel. 10,000 times the force of Earth's gravity. They are just gonna huck that into space.
Race into space with spin launch. The problem with getting things into orbit has always been the rocket equation. That is, the vast majority of what it takes to get a rocket beyond our atmosphere is fuel, more than 90% of it. But what if, in fact, most of that fuel is not actually needed?
Nothing but just all natural, raw power force into the freaking atmosphere, dude. Who cares? Just start launching anything up there. Imagine being an astronaut and you get told that you're gonna be on the first, like, rocket to be slingshotted out of this world into the atmosphere, into the void. Just bam.
This is A33, short for Accelerator 33.
And it's the world's largest diameter vacuum chamber.
It's the brainchild of Jonathan Yaney.
This man said brainchild instead of a thought.
It's the brainchild of Jonathan Yaney, founder and CEO of Spin Launch.
So we're standing here underneath the vacuum chamber. This is the main launch vehicle loading door.
Okay.
One of the really interesting features about this particular system is that it's on hydraulics and the entire system can rotate.
Yaney's company has been at it since 2014, but most of the construction on this project took place during the COVID years. It's an idea designed for a new space age that relies on a concept that dates back to the Stone Age, the sling.
This is essentially a sling launch system, which we were using to hunt with 50,000 years ago. It's simply using modern materials and encased in a large vacuum chamber.
This guy sounds like Miley Cyrus.
The journey is usually the part that you remember anyways.
What you have is you have an arm that slowly rotates around and around, driven by an electric motor. And once the tip velocity is sufficient for it to be able to carry a spacecraft into space, we simply let go. And it travels outside of the vacuum chamber through the atmosphere in about 30 seconds into space.
The sling in this case is a carbon fiber tether, which spins the launch vehicle or projectile until it hits 5,000 miles an hour, sending it through an airtight membrane hurtling towards space, and eliminating the need to lift all that fuel used in traditional rockets.
Stop. NASA. You know how much of the ocean hasn't been discovered yet? Can we figure out our planet first before we go looking at nebulas and trying to figure out aliens? Don't worry about them, okay? Stop trying to figure out stuff and stop throwing stuff into the atmosphere. We gotta figure out what's going on with us first, okay? We gotta figure it out quick. Because we got problems we gotta solve. No one's solving them because we're too busy hugging stuff into the space. You can't stop littering down here and you just start littering out there. People are just gonna start yeeting their garbage into the atmosphere. I can't. Truly bonkers. If you like this video, please do me a solid and show me some support by liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing. And of course, hit that bing bong so that you never miss a new upload from me. With all that being said, I hope that you have a week as beautiful as you, and I hope to see you again in the future. Now go drink some water, you neglected houseplant looking ass. I love you. Bye.
toast smells like moist toast.